Welcome back, everyone, to our new podcast series, Before the Game. I'm Alicifer, and joining me again is my lovely co-host, Starjun.
Oh, thank you, Alicifer. Well, guys, we're really getting into it now. We're in the second semi-finals of the OPL is playing tonight, but our special guests for us are the Oceanic Challenger Series Shoutcaster Rusty, who I'm sure everyone knows, and Juves from Sin Gaming. How are you guys both doing?
Yes, good, mate. I'm glad to be here. Happy to talk about the games coming up in Prior.
And Juves?
Likewise, excited to be here. I always watch this, so yeah, it's good to be on it.
That's great to hear.
That's excellent. So, just quickly, before we get into our actual discussion, just a quick introduction about who you guys are and what you guys do in the scene, and we'll start off with Rusty.
I'm Rusty, known as many other million names. I've all got the word Rusty in it. I'm a shoutcaster for the Oceanic Challenger Series, hosted by Riot, and I am also a sub for Legacy Esports. So, been around for quite a while.
Juves?
Oh yeah, I'm a jungler for Sin Gaming in the Oceanic Challenger Series, and I go by Juves, not Juves, Flying Juves, anything with Juves. That's probably me.
Just the Jews, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right, guys. So, just a quick reminder to everyone in Twitch chat, if you have any questions for our guests, please make sure that you spam the Twitch chat. We'll be asking them at the end of the podcast. The best question will be given a $10 RP card, so make sure you guys are really creative in your questions. Nothing inappropriate, please, because we will not read them out. All right, so we will be talking about the games that happened last night. Direwolves vs. Legacy. Now, it was a 3-1. I'm not going to say stomp because the games were still pretty good, but let's talk about game 1. All right. So we did see. Sorry, let me just quickly go over the picks and bans. We saw bans from Legacy, the Fizz, Kalista, Karthus, and the Direwolves was Mondo, Sejuani, Zed. Legacy picked up Sion, Gragas, LeBlanc, Graves, and Annie. And Direwolves picked up your Hecarim, your Rek'Sai, your Xerath, Lucian, and Morgana. Now, discussion time. What were you saying, Christian?
Well, I just wanted to see, firstly, what everyone's predictions going into the games were for that result. What about you, Juves? Who did you think were going to take that, Direwolves or Legacy?
Honestly, I thought Legacy would take it around 3-1. I could be a little bit biased, but well played to Direwolves. They played well and they took the series.
Yeah, Rusty, is there even any point asking what your predictions would be?
Yeah, no, there's a point. I'm sure there's a point. I definitely thought Legacy were going to win, but I thought it would be 3-2 to Legacy, a bit closer. I know that Direwolves have beaten them in every OPL game prior to this, but Legacy have played a lot more best of fives, so putting them against each other, I thought 3-2 because Legacy will come out in the end in the 5th game.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to talk about in the first game was obviously the casters spoke about it a lot, and it was leaving Hecarim up for perfection. Hecarim's a really devastating champion. What were your guys' opinions on that? Do you think it was a good or a bad decision, or that didn't really have that much impact on the game, or was that really what lost that first one? I'll go to you first, Juves.
I think the Hecarim pick for perfections is a no-go. You should not let him have that champion. And it didn't lose the game for Legacy because, obviously one pick never really loses the game, but yeah, it was a big factor into the reason why they lost the game.
Especially going into a Sion, and Sion couldn't really bully him out of lane, and thus progressed into late game, not really being able to do much to that Hecarim. In a sec, also, just while we're talking about the Hecarim, do you think that Fizz and Karthus bans were worth leaving Hecarim and Xerath up? And I'm going to ask that one to Rusty.
It's a matter of priority. So they banned Fizz so that they could pick Sion, and that does leave Hecarim open. So it's a matter of they know what champions they want to play, and they're aware of what Direwolves are going to play depending on the bans. So they sacrificed them getting Hecarim for the ban of the Fizz and the Karthus because that's a target ban on Sharp.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable. I want to talk about another one of the bans. obviously Direwolves banned Dr. Mundo in all 3 of their games. I was just curious, what's your guys' opinions on Dr. Mundo? Was that going to be a jungle Dr. Mundo or a top lane? And is that a new emerging kind of strong pick? We're going to use you first.
Yeah, I do know from playing against Carbon that he does like the Dr. Mundo jungle. So I do think he could be like a hidden OP in the jungle, and that's why Direwolves kind of targeted it, and they probably wouldn't have much experience playing against it, so it just seemed like a smart ban at the time. Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you think it's a possible flex pick, or is that purely a jungle Dr. Mundo that they were trying to ban out then?
I think, yeah, it's a good flex, because if you see Dr. Mundo, you kind of assume that it's in the top lane. And yeah, well, it got banned, so we never got to see where it would really go.
That's true, and I guess they got the result, so it was definitely a good ban.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, it was banned all 4 games.
Yeah. Every game they decided to ban it, regardless of side selection. So it was pretty interesting. Hopefully we'll get to see someone pull out a Dr. Mundo jungle in one of the other semi-finals, or maybe the final.
Now, also, just talking about early game, we saw cleanse on LeBlanc. Now this question is going to be to you, Rusty, because I know that you're a mid laner. What are your thoughts on the cleanse with the Xerath matchup?
I don't know if I agree with cleanse in that particular game. It's not bad against the Xerath because the way that you distort is at the Xerath, and they'll generally hit their stun straight on you, so you can cleanse it. But in that particular game, there was only the Xerath and the Morgana, I think, that were cleansable spells. And I'd say maybe even a barrier over the cleanse would have been a lot better for LeBlanc in laning phase. Maybe even the ignite for kills. But it did have its purpose, and I would never argue with Choose as to why he picked it. But I do think that maybe even barrier would be better.
Yeah, I kind of think I agree with you. I think that Ignite would really be the best option. I think that the cleanse isn't going to do enough that it's worth sacrificing that much kill pressure. Like that's at least my opinion. I think it's better with the Morgana to dodge those bindings. But yeah, I think it's something that's been emerging a lot. A lot of players been picking up cleanse, and I guess it's probably a personal preference kind of thing in the matchup that he really likes using cleanse or something.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Now,
well, I think we should jump on to game 2, which is the game that Legacy actually... Oh, we have more things to jump on in game 1?
Of course.
Okay.
We have... I just also want to touch on picks and bans. Now, there were so many other picks that were open, but we saw Carbon pick up Gragas. Now, Gragas is slowly becoming more and more popular as far as jungling is concerned. We see him overseas, and we're seeing him in the OCE scene as well. He did go skirmishes and then build full tank, but he kind of felt like he was lacking throughout the game. Now, I'm not sure if this is because they were behind a lot, but he just couldn't be as effective as he needed to be as a jungler, especially on something as heavy initiating and counter engaging as Gragas is. Now, do you guys feel like that is maybe a missed pickup on Legacy's behalf? Carbon just couldn't do enough with this pickup, or do you think it's Gragas himself? He's not quite in that strong place that he needs to be as effective as other junglers that are available.
I do feel that Gragas is in a good spot at the moment. In regards to the smites, I think he picked up the skirmishes smite because it's kind of like the tank meta, right? And if you smite someone, you get that little bit of extra true damage on auto or whatever. So I can kind of understand the pickup, but maybe it was like a situational thing. But I have seen Carbon been rushing skirmishes a bit, so I don't know. It's hard to say. It's maybe the way the game was going. He thought the red one would be better, but yeah.
It could be personal preference with the smite, but the Gragas itself, I think, is in a really good place in the jungle right now. It does a lot of damage. It has a very safe clear, and I had this conversation with Swiper yesterday, and he said that the reason that Gragas is such a good jungle pick is if you're really good at Gragas, it's actually broken. Like, it is phenomenally good in the jungle. It was taken away from Soul Strikes as well, I believe, who plays a lot of jungle Gragas. So there was a lot of reasons for the pick. Carbon didn't get to do a whole lot on it. His ults were mostly defensive, and that was, I think, the biggest issue with it. But Gragas as a champion is a really strong champion and should definitely be prioritized in a jungle pick.
Yeah. I just also want to say one last thing, just purely because King did so well in this fight. So it was 33 minutes, big team fight. Choo-Choo's just around Dragon Pit. Choo-Choo's jumped onto King, tried to jump onto King. It was a really, really fancy footwork. He dodged everything that Choo-Choo's and then the screaming Scion coming past threw at him. So shout out to you for that play because I'm a huge King fan. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. So really good. You guys did really well. And then let's see.
Speaking of King, actually, I think he's been one of like the best performers in the OPL this split. He really steps it up when he needs to play, and he's got that really strong mechanical play that's kind of paired with good decision making. So I don't think it was very surprising to see him play well in that set.
It was just really nice footwork. Optimizing the Lucian's dash abilities. So 33 minutes, Direwolves did take the Baron. Valiant effort from Legacy to kill it off, actually, 3 of the boys. But leaving only Scion left to take the Nexus on that one. To protect the Nexus. Do you guys feel like Legacy could have done anything previous to, obviously, Nexus Explosion to have brought themselves back into that game? Or do you think that they kind of floundered a little bit in picks and bans?
I feel Legacy did quite well. Like during the early game, during laning phase, they never fell far behind, and sometimes they were, I'd say, relatively ahead. It was just more once they got something, like they got a kill or an objective, they tried forcing something and getting that little bit extra. So if they killed one person, they chase, try and get that second kill, try and get that third kill. And in one game in particular, I'm pretty sure it was the first or third, and it came back to bite them, just chasing and overextending for those kills.
Yeah, I think first game there wasn't a lot they could do. They got behind and they kind of did flounder. There's no real way for them to come back into that game. The lead grew too big. Third game, I think they did have an opportunity to win. I do feel like they should have won. And the fourth game in particular, I think they had in the bag. They just didn't win the early game as much as they would like to have.
Yes. Let's talk about game 2 now, though, because Legacy did win this one, and it was really cool, like an intense, like, it wasn't even an intense game. Okay, quickly, just going over the picks and bans. So, Legacy taking out that Hecarim, didn't want to deal with it again. Callista banned every single time, so Twani banned again. Mundo, Rek'Sai, Zed from Direwolves as well. We saw Minky play that earlier in the top lane against the Nautilus. Guys, okay, talk to me about Nautilus pickup.
The only way I can see that Nautilus pickup working out was if he got ahead, kind of, and got real tanky and offered the CC that he does. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say on that Naut pick because I've never seen it, and yeah, can only go based off that game.
I think the Naut actually did quite well. There was one team fight near Blue Buff where he hooked someone and he started the fight with like sub 50% health, and he just did so much CC before he died. I think if you could set up a team comp around him and your top laner was comfortable enough to be a really good Nautilus, that he'd be pretty good, but he probably doesn't really excel at a lot of the things that the other top laners do.
Yeah.
But that was a really I think the fact that they were already up a game, so and now like they've switched sides, they might as well try and take a bit of a niche pick, something that people aren't going to be used to, and try and just snowball the game from there. Even if they lose, which they did, they can just take the next 2 games. And I like to see those kind of picks because I think it really changes the meta, and it's really it's good for the Oceanic scene as well.
I don't think the logic behind it was they were 1 game up in a semi-final of the OPL, so they can pick whatever they like in the top lane. It was more for a purpose. Nautilus itself is very, very strong early game. Like, its base damages, especially with Riptide, is very high cooldown, and it's very good against an Aurelia. You can deny a lot of the trading that an Aurelia does. You have a shield which blocks the true damage, which is most of Aurelia's damage, and it was really smart by Legacy to lane swap against it, denying that 1v1 where the Nautilus was definitely going to win, and that was basically what won Legacy the game from there, because Aurelia got to farm at least the same amount as the Nautilus, and come to lane at about level 7, I think they started laning against each other, and it works out better there.
Yeah, I think that's what hurt the Nautilus was the lane swap. Couldn't utilize the pick.
Yeah, most definitely. Talking about picks, we did see that Sharp picked up Ahri. Now Xerath was open, he didn't go for that. He went for Ahri. He's not quite as confident on Ahri as well. I can understand in the team comp he wants to be that mobile assassin, take out the back line, but couldn't really optimize on it. And not to take away from Choo Choo's playing an amazing game on Lissandra. Really, really optimizing that Frozen Tomb, getting it on. Like, there was one fight around just below blue buff on bottom side, sorry. Freaking altered, like, all of them. And you couldn't, like, King couldn't get in there and do anything. So that was amazing. What do you guys think? Like, should he have maybe have stayed with the Xerath pickup? Was the Ahri, like, in case he was going to get camped like he did? Congrats, EGM, for that level 2 first blood. That was amazing. What do you guys
that is
think
a really
about
deadly gank, that where you give this Porter jungle camp so they can gank at level 2. He's done that on Alistar and Leona now, and it's really deadly. Teams are gonna have to start warding against that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if Sharp picked Ahri into Lissandra or Lissandra was picked after Ahri.
I think Ahri was last pick.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think the whole idea of Sharp picking Ahri was to like try and push the lane out and then go roam and make plays or something along those lines. But that Lissandra pick, it's just so easy to gank for, and like when Legacy's on point like that, you've got the EGM on a support where you can make plays, and you got Carbon who can come mid, and especially with Lissandra's ulti, it's just whoever the champion is, even if it's Xerath, Xerath or Ahri, it's gonna have a bad time.
Pretty much, and even like I guess Ahri has a bit more mobility, so you see the claw come out, and they can't really Frozen Tomb you because you can just ult away and be a little bit safer. It still does the same thing as a Xerath though, so it has the wave clear with I guess the first buy if you get a bit of items, but he got camped way too hard. Like there was no situation, doesn't matter who he was playing, he was gonna have a bad day. And like level 2 ganks dove from Minky Whale. I think Jarvan was there level 3 and maybe even again within the same level before doing a jungle camp. So it doesn't even really matter what he was playing, that game was gonna go bad for Sharp.
Yeah.
Yes, so Legacy, as we saw, really capitalize pretty well on that picks and ban phase there. Like we just heard in chat that apparently that they knew that the Nautilus was coming, so Aurelia was probably picked because it's just like, well, I survived laning phase, come out in game and just destroy everything. Sorry, so yeah, there was a couple of multiple fights in chokes that allowed Tally, and Tally doing amazing work on Siva, to follow up with Choo Choo's maximum DPS. Tally just wouldn't die. King couldn't do anything because there was two like major threats in his faces. Yeah, is there anything you want to add to this, Starjun?
I think we've covered most of the topics pretty well from that game. I think it was it was a good game to watch. I think all the games were really, from a spectator point of view, they were really good. But I think the third game was really, the game that I wanted to look at the most. And especially getting to see Perfection on Fizz in Game 3, that just made my finals. Like that pick did so much work, and it's like, it's really great. But how about that? The third game was also where I think that Dials really took control of the set. If Legacy had managed to win that, then I think they would have easily taken the fourth game as well. But I think it would have been really tough for them to overcome that. What were your guys' opinions on the third game, and especially the Fizz top?
Well, the Fizz top, anything that can carry a game, so we'll hyper carry a game with like in regards to Perfections, just get him on it because like he's gonna do well, and it showed like, and Fizz had a favourable matchup as well because he was laning against Rumble, so yeah, I think it was actually a really good pick.
That actually leads into an interesting point. Like clearly from that set, Perfection is a really deadly top laner. He really excels on those aggressive players. Do you think it would have been better just to put Minky on a just a tanky top laner, someone that's really easy to gank for, and just kind of ride off that lane and try and win a different lane? Or is that not a good attitude to have to a matchup like that?
I don't really think it works like that. You get Perfection on someone who's going to hard carry the game. He usually just farms his lane until he has a presence in team fights and just goes massive. Having Minky on a tank won't cater to how big Perfection's going to be. I'm just call him Hecarim. He'll be massive, and then you'll only have a tank frontliner. The way that they put Minky on Aurelia and things like that, because Minky can still carry from it, and they've got a tank support and generally a tank jungler as well. So like they're picking more for the team comp and then trying to get Minky with a favourable lane where he won't lose so that Perfection can snowball massively into the mid game. And they're trying to gank for Choo Choo so that he can snowball and just do more work than Hecarim. Oh, I just called him Hecarim again.
That's because Perfection is
Just rename him to
Hecarim. But we did see Choo Choo's play that cannon as well. He did a really, really good job. Like we said, he kind of like I guess he just couldn't capitalize on those team fights that they won. It was it was really painful. Like I could just imagine him just being like, "Come on, guys, please, please, where are you?" And Sharp doing an amazing job. One of the last team fights, catching them with like standing outside the team fight completely. Didn't even get touched the entire fight, and he just cleaned up everything. So like, really, really good. So Direwolves, really solid play, Perfection, getting in there, just disrupting everything, and Ejim, even though he was playing on Alicifer, couldn't peel for him. Now, game 4, of course, was the
I think that was a great game.
It was a great game for Direwolves.
I think it kind of showed that Direwolves has a more of a repertoire to play, like more different comps. Obviously, bringing out game 4 when Legacy's already down a couple games makes it a bit harder. But I love seeing Corki Ezreal. What are your guys' opinions on the final game and how it kind of folded out?
Rusty, go. Rusty.
They picked a double AD, but Legacy matched it in terms of scaling. I think they just got a little bit too far ahead. They managed to make a few needless picks. So like in situations where Legacy weren't going to achieve anything, they were too far out of their base or in a bad position, and Direwolves caught them, I think, twice, managing to kill both carries from Legacy, and that was pretty much the game from there. Like they had a even game, and then straight into a snowball out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think that game, there's not really a lot to talk about as well. I think the 4th game in a set, it would have been tough for Legacy to have to come win those last 2 games. So when your mentality is already at that kind of state, running a double AD comes really easy just to pull off. So I think, I think Direwolves, though, I think they really would have earned a lot more fans after their performance last night. But we have another...
Can't forget about Perfection's Vlad, I just have to say that.
Yeah, it was great to see Vlad. I think he's another character that will emerge a lot in the scene. But I think before we run out of time, we should definitely talk about tonight's semi-final. Everyone's probably pretty aware of what it is. We got the Chiefs versus Immunity. Firstly, what are you guys' predictions on the outcome of this semi-final? Even if do I have to ask, but I might as well. What about you, Juice? You can go first.
Well, not taking anything away from IM, because like the last game of the split, they beat Direwolves. So they show that they can beat really anyone in the OPL. But I just feel like Chiefs are on a whole nother level at the moment, and they should take out the series.
They're inspired by C9's message.
Yeah, I love that. That was so cool,
good.
man. Yeah.
That was great, actually. Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, check out Cloud9's Facebook page. They've posted a video to the Chiefs, because they're both sponsored by Logitech. And that was great to see the NA teams getting behind them. I really liked that. But what do we think will be really the controlling lane of tonight's game? Do we think the mid lane matchup is going to be really important to defining, or is it just going to be a really team-oriented matchup? Rusty?
It's usually the mid and jungle. T-Gun will have to try and step up, so maybe look at the support from Immunity. He always feels that need to step up, and they do perform against big teams. Like we saw them beat Direwolves, and they've performed quite well against the Chiefs in the past, so they may pull a game out. I think it'll go 3-1 to Chiefs, but I still think the Chiefs will win convincingly through the mid and jungle.
Awesome. All right, we're just going to quickly get through our community questions. Thank you guys so much for asking them. We have from Takua 2 questions for Juves. Who does he think will win the OCs? And does he think he can beat Bang Esports for 3rd place?
I think that means the OCS.
OCS.
Yep.
Sorry, I was like, minimal S. I'm like...
So, I think best players Ocean will win the OCS, not because they beat us, but generally, like speaking, I think we haven't seen much of Absolute, because like they've been pushed
We've
through.
seen none of them.
Well, we've seen none of them, yeah, because they've been pushed through twice.
They
from,
played in Open League a little bit.
DQs.
They did.
Yeah, I guess, but I still think, I don't know, I feel BPO is the stronger team, and yeah, that they should take it out. And do I think we can beat Bang? I think we can. We've been scrimming well lately. We've been playing well. We've moved on from our loss. You know, no one's dwelling on it. So hopefully we can fix the problems that we had in the semi-finals, and yeah, we can make it to the Pro League playoff.
Our next community question, though, is from Kathleen. Kathleen, yeah. How do you feel the O scene has progressed since the beginning of the OPL? Does OS have a chance, or are they approaching the chance to be a force to be reckoned with at wildcards? I'll put this one to you, Rusty.
I think it's progressed a lot in a professional sense. The scene, in terms of skill, has increased just because there is stuff on the line now. They're playing a weekly tournament to go to the international wildcards, or I think it's MSI, and it just made the scene more professional. We've had a few hiccups with certain teams, not to name names, but overall everyone's been scrimming a lot more. They've been taking it a lot more seriously, so it has improved, but it's very hard to say how we will go against wildcard teams until we play against them. I think we'll do well.
I hope so.
Best Adas?
Best AD Oz.
Best AD Oz.
I'm sick. I'm sorry, I can't read. Thoughts on King, guys?
I think King is mechanically really strong, laning phase strong. The way he CS is really good. I think his CS is like one of the best AD carries in the OPL. I just think one maybe problem is he's over aggressive at times, but like, why not when you're winning, right? Like, why not just go for that pentakill?
It's like a flash into the enemy team.
Yeah, it's okay, guys. We're scaling.
We have another question from Kathleen. Oh, well, 2 questions in one podcast. That's impressive. The Shoutcasters always make note that much of Legacy's success hinges on getting choo-choos rolling. Do you guys agree? And do Legacy create strategies around this idea of snowballing choo-choos? Rusty, you're probably the best at
Yeah, I thought this would be my question. Legacy, they kind of revolve around choo-choos getting rolling. It's true. I agree with that. He has 38% of the kill participation throughout the entire season. That is a ridiculous amount for one member of the 5.
Yeah, I think it's the highest in the OPL, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Like, he does a lot for Legacy, and they don't make strategies around snowballing chews. They play to snowball chews, but that's just the way that they've always played. Like, when I sub for them, they try to snowball me, but I don't play like chews, so it doesn't work. The way that they just naturally play around knowing that he's going to be able to win 1v1 and getting him ahead. So they don't make strategies around it, but all of their strategies incorporated irrespective.
Fair enough.
I think that's good insight. Do you have any insight into that question as well, Juice? Because I know you're quite close to a lot of the Legacy guys.
I do feel like, as much as you don't want to say that you make strategies around one player, and like you like to think that all lanes, because all lanes do carry somewhat, like they do well, but I do think they're similar to like TSM, where like Bjergsen, you know, when he gets going and he can really carry the game, and Legacy are similar to that with choo-choos, and sometimes they can be very mid-centric. But TSM do it, and TSM are winning, so I don't see why, you know, it's a bad idea.
Trust in the Bjergsen. Alright, guys, just before we wrap up, any shout-outs that you guys would like to make? And then I'll announce the winner of the questions.
Oh, yeah, shout out. Oh, wait, who's going shout out?
You.
Yeah. Shout out to my boys at Sin Gaming. Yeah, like Rymeister, you know, Points, Flying Jew, especially Flying Jew, my boy. Yeah.
The bloody Jew.
What about Stealthix and AD?
Yeah, Stealthix as well. And, you know, I'll give a shout out to Starjun too, the hard work he puts in. There you go, Starjun.
Oh, thanks. I guess I'll give a shout out to Juves just to
You were baiting that one, weren't you, mate?
Yeah, sure was. What about you, Rusty? Any shout outs?
Legacy first and foremost, and of course Ace is the sponsor, and in particular I'd like to give one to Riot for letting me cast the OCS. It's been awesome, and I hope to continue casting in the future, so thank you to them for that.
You've been doing an amazing job. Alright guys, I think that's time to wrap us up. So, you know where to find everyone. Make sure that you follow our beautiful...
Do we have a winner for the... Do we get a winner yet for the questions?
Actually, do we have a winner decided? Let me just have a
I
look.
think we do. I think
We do? Oh, we do. Okay, so Kath, you actually won our $10 RP giveaway for your last question. It was really good. So make sure that you message the Twitch channel.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And we'll give you that code for the thing. So, all right, guys, make sure that you follow our lovely guests. You can see their Twitters on the stream. You can also follow myself and Starjun as well. So this has been the end of another episode of Before the Game. Thank you guys all for joining us. Make sure that you go watch the next games coming up. Cheats vs. IM. We'll see you guys same time next week. See ya.
Yeah, thanks everyone.